This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome back to the Special Chronicles show. My name is Daniel Smokowski, and I'm the founder of Special Chronicles, a Special Olympics Southern Travel International Global Messenger, and a SOSA ambassador at United Airlines in Chicago. This is episode 490 and season 3, part 7 of Unified at Work, our original series featuring conversations about the meaning of inclusive employment. I know we're quickly approaching the 500th episode, so quickly. Anyways, the Unified at Work series is sponsored by Bridge, one of United's business resource groups that is connecting people of all abilities. You can book your travel today at united.com or on the award-winning United app. And again, specialchronicles.com. with links to follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And be sure to also to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, Special Chronicles, on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube to watch the live stream video episodes. And sign up for newsletters, which we receive exclusive bonus content. Again, specialchronicles.com, specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe and follow. Specialchronicles.com/unified at work is if you want to listen to more conversations about the meaning of inclusive employment. And if you want to meet more SOSAs, Special Olympic Service ambassadors at United Airlines, specialchronicles.com/meet SOSAs is our playlist. And now, our guest this week on the Special Chronicles show and our Unified at Work series is LuLu Wesneski from United's Houston hub. Please put your virtual hands together as we welcome LuLu to the Special Chronicles show and our Unified at Work series. Welcome, LuLu. Oh, whoa. There we go. Welcome. Glad to have you on the show. I know you and your fellow Houston SOSA team have been looking forward to pretty much all year. Everybody looking forward to being on this podcast.
I'm glad to be here, and thank you for having me on this podcast.
I know, so we're gonna get into much more your story about Special Olympics and your job at United. The job that we both share as Special Olympic Service ambassadors. And for those listening, if at any time during this episode we say, "Oh, this Unified at Work series," we say SOSA, we should let you know that SOSA means Special Olympics Service Ambassador, which is our job title at United Airlines. So first, I'm sure there might be I'm sure your family and friends and other people in Houston and Texas will probably be tuning in to this podcast. But for any new listeners, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners, tell us what disability you're diagnosed with, your role in our Special Olympics movement, what state you're from, and your job at United Airlines.
Okay, I'm LuLu. I am 31 years old. I am a Special Olympics United ambassador at United. I've been there for almost a year now. Our anniversary will be in October. Can you believe it or not?
I know. I know. It's hard to believe.
This program has done a lot for me, making me grow with passion and showing people in this world, athletes just like us can basically achieve their goals no matter how long it takes. What I do as a Special Olympics ambassador at United, I greet customers, I bad tags, I give directions, I interact with customers.
Awesome. We'll get into much more about your in the next couple of segments, but yeah, that was a great introduction. And what in after we take a first break to let our listeners know how they can support this podcast. But after we hear about your involvement in Special Olympics, what is I think an excellent way for our listeners to kind of hear your story is to hear how all involvement in Special Olympics, you and myself and the other SOSA ambassadors, all involvement as Special Olympics athletes starts on the field, but then goes beyond the field, goes beyond sport. And that's a perfect example of our jobs at United. So hopefully people will hear that there's a lot more that we can do, that we can be fully included in the workplace. So we'll hear much more from you, LuLu. We're going to take a short break to let all of you listening know if you are enjoying hearing LuLu's story in this episode and hearing all these podcast episodes, not just our Unified Work series, but all the over 400, almost this is what, episode 490, almost 500 episodes, and you want us to continue to give respect and voice to those of us with special needs, you can support this podcast, and we'll let you know how you can support this podcast in this next break. Our conversation with LuLu will continue. Calling in from Houston, Texas, will continue after the break right here on SpecialChronicles.com. We're going to take a quick break from our conversation today to learn how you can become a Special Chronicles supporter so we can continue to produce this podcast. Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcast, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at specialchronicles.com/give. That's specialchronicles.com/give. And now, back to the show to continue the conversation today. And back to the show. Our guest this week on the Special Chronicles show is LuLu, calling in from Houston, Texas. This is part of our Unified at Work series. This is episode 490, season 3, part 7 of a Unified at Work series. So, LuLu, we as our job title is Special Olympics Service Ambassador. We're both Special Olympics athletes. You're in Houston, Texas, and I'm in Illinois, kind of up in the Chicago suburbs area. But take us back and share with us how you first got involved in Special Olympics.
I first got involved when I was 13 months old at Briarwood. They wanted to start a program for intellectual disabilities, and I started playing sports when I was in private school. Mm-hmm. And basically I started playing volleyball, basketball, tennis, bocce ball, soccer, track and field, and basically it helped me grow in my self-confidence in myself. And as I got older, I got more involved by like doing volunteering work, riding horses, doing equestrian, helping people, with intellectual disability like mine, tell them they can do anything. Basically, and then I was involved in the hot shots after that. And we started playing volleyball, soccer, tennis, everything. And I've been involved for 13 years now.
Awesome.
I love it. It's fun.
Awesome. Can you? Yeah, I know that I love being involved as well. Can you tell us what the Hot Shots is?
It's basically it's a team that I'm on. We've been together for 25 years, and it's the whole entire people from my team members are from like Pearland, Friendswood, Sugarland, Houston, and we're fixing to start volleyball in October.
Awesome.
So we're very excited about that. Basically, it's just like a whole group of us that wanted to get like playing sports, and basically, it's also like a team where we can just be ourselves, and interact with each other and compete with athletes just like us.
Awesome. Something else that I that kind of brought to my attention, you sharing how you got involved Special Olympics, is you said that your self-confidence has grown, and that's something that I can relate to, because I, just like you, after I started competing and then being involved in the athlete leadership programs, to being a Southern Survival International Global Messenger, and now working at United Airlines, my self-confidence, just like you, has grown as well. And so I think that's when people hear your story in this episode, when they hear my story and the other stories on all of these podcasts, I think people can really learn a lot, that the power of Special Olympics, the power of the Special Olympics movement, that it really does help with our self-confidence, and that they do a lot to, help with us, not just when we're competing in sports, but even going beyond sport, which we'll get to in the next segment. We talk about working at United. Since you mentioned some of the sports that you compete in, and can you remind our listeners again the sports that you compete in, and maybe if you're able to pick one or two favorites?
I think my two favorites would be equestrian, meaning horse competitions, and tennis.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know I don't compete in either of those two sports, but I know that we also have those in Illinois, because I know not every state or not every country might in their Special Olympics programs might not offer the same sports. But exactly. I know that we offer. Yeah, I know some states, like if you talk to any athlete in Colorado, they'll have cycling. Well, I know we don't have cycling. I don't know if you guys have cycling, like bike riding. Yeah, so it's neat how some states have some sports and some have different sports. Take us back. You in sharing how you first got involved in Special Olympics. Take us back now kind of to your early years, and to tell us about some of the challenges, but also some of the joys and accomplishments because of your disability. If you were kind of take us back to your very early years.
Let's see. My early years basically was very, very hard, I guess, because I didn't really have many friends. And I was not born with this, in case listeners want to know. I was diagnosed with tuberous sclerosis, meaning seizures, when I was 13 months old. I basically have seizures in the left side of my brain, and it has I have left side weakness in my hand and my foot, and I'm not afraid to share that on here. Basically, I have overcome a lot of challenges, like making making friends, and I think being a Special Olympics athlete, makes it very challenging at times. But some of the accomplishments I have had was graduate from high school and college. I made the honor roll in high school and college as well. I've had 5 jobs. I purchased my own car a few years ago. I also got this job at United with the help of AJ and Aaron and my parents. And basically, I don't let my disability stop me for who I am.
Awesome. A few things I kind of want to comment on your kind of early years part of your story is one thing you said is that this being a Special Olympics athlete has had its challenges. Like, can you maybe share kind of what you mean by, like, have you had challenges because being an athlete, or did you have challenges before becoming a Special Olympics athlete?
I think I had challenges before I came to become a Special Olympics athlete.
Okay. Yeah. I know. I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to, because something else you said is that that you didn't have a lot of friends, and I know that's something that before I was involved in Special Olympics, I didn't have a lot of friends, and I think a lot of other Special Olympics athletes can relate to the same thing, that before being involved in this movement, before becoming a Special Olympics athlete, was pretty challenging for a lot of us. And then something else you said is you graduated from college. I also graduated from college too. So that's so another thing that we share in common. And then you said you had 5 jobs. I know just before, I don't have that many jobs. I just a couple, like with United, and then doing all this podcasting at Special Chronicles. It's kind of 2 main jobs, and then all the athlete leadership and stuff with Special Olympics. That's all kind of volunteer. But I know before going on air, before we hit the record button, you had told me that it's sometimes kind of hard to find time when you have a lot of different jobs, and I know that that's something that people some people ask me, and actually somebody even at United Airlines. Hopefully we'll have to let her know to listen. And I don't think you've met her, but her name is Susie Cabo, and she's part of the global, I think she's like the managing director of global community engagement. So basically she's one of the, I guess, like top people out of the global community engagement team at United Airlines, who works with Special Olympics. So like so she was a guest in the first season of this Unified Work series. And so something that she had asked me, and I'm going to kind of ask you kind of the same thing, is how do you, like, she actually told me, I would love to sit down to have coffee with you to talk about how you get everything done and how you manage your time. And we recorded a bonus episode of like 15 minutes that was called Coffee Talk. And actually we had gotten some lattes at the airport here in Chicago, and at O'Hare Airport in Chicago, and we called it Coffee Latte Talk because it was a bonus episode. So if you guys can go back, if you're listening, can go back in the archives and listen to Coffee Latte Talk with Susie Caldwell, because we had it was kind of a play on words, because we had a coffee talk, but then we were having lattes. So we had a lot to talk about. So anyway, Susie, if you're listening, I hope you tune into this episode to kind of hear your name endorphins. But anyway, so I'll ask you the same thing of what Susie had asked me is, how do you get everything done? Like with all your jobs and competing in multiple sports and Special Olympics and with the five jobs that you have, and then how do you get everything done? Like, how do you, I guess, manage your time, or how do you get everything done?
I just basically get up one day at a time and take it day by day. For me, I think waking up in the morning is a new day, is a new chapter, new beginning. And I think working at the airport, having this first job, as a Special Olympics United ambassador, and then after work, I basically get on the bus. I drive to my second job here in Magnolia, a kennel tech, and I stay there until closing. My hours change a lot, so it's not really. And then do it all again the next day. And come home, fix dinner. I live by myself, so spend time with my cats. Also, when volleyball starts, I'm gonna have to, make time to go to practice and see my friends. And
Awesome.
I just, kind of space it out, I guess. I can't just like, okay, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I know. Yeah. I kind of do the same thing. And I think hopefully if Susie is listening to this, that's something that she, and even all of you listening can learn from us, is that, yes, it's important to space everything out and not go like boom, boom, boom. Because I know, at least for me, maybe about, definitely about 3 years ago, just before I started at United, I kind of got a little bit overwhelmed with a lot of different stuff. And then even like, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I had gotten to a point that was like, I just wanted to kind of stop everything.
Yeah.
Just like, it kind of got to be too much. So I'm doing better now with, like kind of like what you said with the space and everything out. But it's important to like making sure that you it's good to be busy like you and I and like we all, but it's also good to kind of space things out. So you shared that. Before we take our next sponsor break, how are you get involved in our athlete leadership programs? Because I know if listeners have been listening for a while, we talk a lot about Special Olympics movement on this podcast, but and actually Special Chronicles is kind of Tim Shriver. I don't know if you met Tim, but Tim's the chairman of Special. Tim had even noted that, which I kind of somewhat named Special Chronicles, this podcast and this whole platform, named it kind of off of Special Olympics. So it kind of has a similar name. But we have our sports programs, and then we have our athlete leadership programs and health programs and education programs in the schools. So we talked about your involvement in sports in Special Olympics, but now kind of get into athlete leadership and how did you first get involved in becoming an athlete leader and in the athlete leadership programs with giving speeches and being an athlete ambassador for the movement?
I think the first time I got involved with Special Olympics with was volunteering that stuff. And then I decided to become a global messenger, and I had to go to a training for that. And then I did the Vast Academy program, and it basically taught me how to get a job, how to be independent, and I love volunteering. It's a lot of fun. It gives me the opportunity to meet new people and see what else is out there.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't know. Do you know Bruce Clark from Texas? Yeah. I actually met him. I think it was last year. I met him in person here in Chicago. But yeah. I know him as well. So I think he's the one that is in charge of your athlete leadership programs. We're going to take another short break. When we come back, we will hear from LuLu and how she got all about her job, being on the job with LuLu at United Airlines in Houston. When the podcast continues after this short break, after we hear a quick message from one of our sponsors for this podcast. So conversation with LuLu will continue after the break right here on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner. Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives and really is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they're literally giving a voice to people with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And we're back. I guess that's once the break ended abruptly, but this is episode 490 of the Special Chronicles show, 490, and season 3, part 7 of our Unified at Work series, where we are on the job with LuLu from United Airlines Houston Hub. And LuLu, this episode is titled "On the Job" with LuLu. So now this is the point of the episode. I know we're 26 minutes into this episode, and we'll finally get into "On the Job." But we kind of had to set up your story so people kind of heard. Before, that's something that I think a lot of people should kind of know when they're listening to your story in this series, this Unified at Work series, is that your all involvement in Special Olympics as athletes is the foundation, which then kind of helps to prepare us to go beyond sport, in athlete leadership, in employment, and in the community, and really the movement of special. It kind of so that's what we kind of set our listeners up in the first couple segments in the first half of this episode. But now, as we're on the job at United Airlines in Houston, share with us how you first heard about the job and this new inclusive employment opportunity at United Airlines as a Special Olympic Service Ambassador. How did you first hear about the job?
I first heard about the job when AJ and Aaron sent out an email to everybody, and they were going to hire 4 athletes, and they went ahead and emailed us saying, if you're interested, fill out application.
Ooh, looks like we cut out. Looks like the video cut out just slightly.
If you make like the second round, that's good. Mm-hmm. So they chose me and a couple of other people, and then they also had whoever made the 4th round was able to go.
Ooh, looks like we cut out again. LuLu, I think the video cut out. I don't know if you want to repeat yourself a little bit for the listeners.
Basically, I made it to the 4th round, and I had an interview with Mona Lisa and one of the other managers there, and they basically hired me right on the spot. And I learned in the previous days that we got to meet the vice president of United, Mr. Phillip was his name. He still works there, and he told us he all liked us all very much, that he went ahead and hired all 6 of us.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. 4 is kind of the limit, at least here in Chicago and in Denver. But yeah, that's exciting. So we did it a little differently in Chicago, but I won't. If people want to kind of hear how we got started in Chicago. You can go to Special Chronicles you can go to Special Chronicles /meet SOSAs. Hopefully my video's not frozen. specialchronicles.com/meet SOSAs. You can go back, listen to season 1 of the series. But LuLu, let's now continue as you share your unified employment story at United Airlines. And after you got the job description, after you heard about the job, and then you said that you applied for the job, walk us through what the next step was after so let's now kind of pick up the story, and you accepted the job, and United Airlines in Houston had interviewed all 6 of you athletes, and all 6 of you had accepted the job, right? So what was what happened next? Was it the welcome event, or what happened next?
We technically had to go through training, a lot of training for like a few months.
Okay, so we'll touch on that training in just a moment, but before that, so I think right after there was a welcome event where you and the so all 6 of you SOSA ambassadors, all 6 of you SOSAs in Houston met myself and the others, so all 4 of us OG original Special Olympic SOSA ambassadors from Chicago when we flew down to Houston, I think in the middle of October 2021. So now I think the video cut out a little bit, but now, so we're coming up on, as you said at the top of the episode, 1 year of you guys working your 1 year work anniversary. But so after you accepted the job, is that when you guys attended that welcome event and that you attended, and you met all 4 of us original ambassadors?
Yes. After I accepted the job, we had a welcome committee meeting, like in December. We had like a Christmas party.
And then what about in October 2021 when you met all 4 of us original SOSA ambassadors?
I met
myself and Kyle and Lone and Z, the 4 of us SOSA ambassadors from Chicago.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us a little bit about that experience of what it was like to meet because we were the original, as they say, the OG SOSA ambassadors. What was it like to meet us and kind of hear from us about?
I think for me, it was a great opportunity to meet where it first originally happened, how it got started. And it was great to meet people just like us, and where it got started, and, meet great athletes like you and is it Hannah?
Yeah. No. Lowen and Z and Kyle.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not very good.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I know sometimes I'm not good with names. So after that welcome event, I guess now this is the point where you had said that you went through 4 or 5 months of training. Can you kind of walk us through that? What was that training like?
The first training was doing online training, basically filling out the airport of what it would be like, also getting our badges, the process of getting the badge process. That's a pain.
Yeah, I agree. That's a long, especially the security badges is a long process. I'm sure it's a little different security maybe in Houston than in Chicago and Denver and in different airports. But yeah, that's a long process.
Yes, it is. But it was worth it, and I love it. And we finally were finally be able to get out on our own at the airport. And after all the training, and we're able to walk another milestone by helping people, give directions, feeling more confident about ourselves inside and out, and just basically showing the world what we can do as humans and as people and as athletes.
Awesome. I love what you said there, showing the world what we can do. And then, so we're recording this in the middle of August, beginning of August. I don't know the timeline. Well, we're recording this on August 9th, 2022. But by the time all of you'll hear this, it will be the beginning of September, but then again of 2022. But then people might hear this in October 2022 or anytime, after this episode drops, like the kids say. So we also pretty much by the time our listeners hear you on this podcast, we're celebrating your 1 year anniversary. I know it'll be 3 years because we started the OG ambassadors. We started in October 2019, so it will be October is kind of the anniversary of when the SOSAs when we started, but it'll be all 3 years, but it'll be your 1 year. So as we celebrate your 1 year anniversary, can you kind of wrap up this story of, so after the training now you've kind of been on the job for now 1 year, and kind of share any highlights or what it's like to I know in the previous 2 episodes of this series, we heard from Alexis and Steven, who had talked about that you guys have a couple of different lobbies for United Airlines in Chicago, but can you kind of maybe share a little bit kind of what you do on the job and now that it's 1 year?
Basically what I do on the job is I give directions, greet passengers, get to know a lot of the agents. We actually have this new thing now that our group is doing. It's called the Care Cart, and basically we go down to different of the terminals. Terminal C is the biggest one, and we ask the gate agents, to see if they need any pens, papers, highlighters. That way we can get the agents can get to know us, and then we can also get to know them and build that friendship.
Awesome. I love in the last episode I think Alexis had talked about that, and that's not this kill count. That's not something that we do here in Chicago. But I didn't let all managers and supervisors in Chicago, like Steve and Anna and Mimi, like some of us supervisors know about this is what you guys are doing, and that I feel like that's something that we could probably be doing in Chicago, because you in Chicago and us in, I mean, I'm not talking right. It's close.
No, in Chicago.
It's a long day. Well, we call it. It's a long day. Anyways, and I've been recording back-to-back podcasts. So, anyways, you guys in Houston and us in Chicago, and then the SOSAs in Denver, we all have the same job as Special Olympic Service Ambassadors. So we all do the same thing. But like hearing from you guys about doing this kill count and bringing supplies to like the agents at the gates, I feel like that's something that we could even be that we could do too. So if Anna and Mimi, if our supervisors are listening, that's something I would like to bring up to you. We've got less than 30 seconds before our next break, but I want to kind of, can you briefly share with us what you enjoy most about your job as a service ambassador?
Oh gosh, I love everything. I think for me, I love my job because I get to meet new people every day. I also get to show the world what I'm able to do, as an athlete and as a Special Olympics ambassador.
Mm-hmm.
I also get to build that friendship with my coworkers, my friends, and um, it gives me that great opportunity to, you know, show the world, and people who are not like us, what we can do.
Awesome. I love that, showing people what we can do, and that's hopefully that's something that also when people are listening to this podcast and this Unified at Work series, they can hear from you, and then hopefully if people are flying through Houston, they can meet you and the other SOSAs in one of the lobbies in Houston's airport for United Airlines. We're going to go ahead and take our final sponsor break. And when we come back, we will get to that final question that we always include these conversations with. So don't go away. Our conversation with LuLu from calling in all the way from Houston, Texas. We'll continue after the break right here on SpecialChronicles.com. We'll be right back. Hey, friends, podcast listener friends. I'd like to take a brief moment to let you know about how awesome StreamYard is. StreamYard is the easiest way to create professional live streams. StreamYard is a live streaming studio in your browser. Interview guests, share your screen, and much more. Stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Sign up for StreamYard and get $10 in credit with our referral link at specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. You see the link right below on the screen here, and also will be in the show notes in the description below. But all of us at Special Chronicles, we love StreamYard. I've got a coffee mug I'm drinking coffee out of. Got a t-shirt on. I've got a sweatshirt. This StreamYard Puddles plush duck, Puddles the duck here in the studio, and just really love it. Makes really love StreamYard. It makes it easy to connect with guests. Just send guests the link to join StreamYard, and easily have a professional logo and banners and graphics, and it just makes it easy to pre-record, to live stream on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Really love StreamYard. It's helped to make the audio podcasts and the video versions of the audio podcasts that I've been doing for the past 13 years. It's helped to make the video versions up to the next level, to a more professional level, while also making it easy to live stream. So all of us at Special Chronicles love StreamYard. Once again, if you want to sign up with StreamYard, specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard to sign up and get $10 in credit with our referral link. I hope you all will sign up for StreamYard, and happy live streaming. And until then, sign up for StreamYard and get $10 in credit with our referral link at specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. That's specialchronicles.com/StreamYard. And now back to the show. Our guest this week on the Special Chronicles show is LuLu, calling in from Houston, Texas. This is episode 490, season 3, part 7 of our Unified at Work series. And so, LuLu, as we come to a close with this final segment, we want to remind our listeners that if you want to get involved, I'm sure a lot of listeners are probably tuning in from Houston or anywhere in Texas, but if they want to get involved in Special Olympics Texas, can you let them know how they can get involved?
Basically, you can go online, or you can volunteer at one of the Special Olympics events, like a volleyball tournament, or you could go to a fundraiser that represents Special Olympics, or SOTorg.com. And just basically, try to get involved, as much as you can. Because Special Olympics is a great opportunity for us, and other athletes as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need more people to get involved with Special Olympics and SOTX.org, because we don't really have many people,
Yeah.
who understand Special Olympics,
Yeah.
who, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. So we'll include links in the show notes wherever you're listening to this. If you're listening or watching this episode on specialchronicles.com /podcast through 490, or wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube. Just look for this episode 490, and we'll put links to SOTX.org where you can get involved. And if you're listening and you are not in Texas, listening anywhere across the U.S. or across the globe, and you want to find your local Special Olympics program to get involved, SpecialOlympics.org, that's SpecialOlympics.org, is where you can go and find your local program to get involved in Special Olympics. And also the Unified Work Series is sponsored by Bridge, which is one of United's business resource groups that is connecting people of all abilities. You can book your travel today. I know, LuLu, for those of you guys just listening to us on audio, if you just listened to the podcast on audio, you didn't see LuLu give a thumbs up, but book your travel today. LuLu and I, we both want you all to, the next time that you book your travel, go to united.com or on the award-winning United app. I know both of us are kind of paid to say that, but the award, I think the video. Okay, the United app. I don't know about you, but the United app is really easy to use. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that, about booking the travel.
Yeah, I would recommend booking with United. .com. You get great benefits. You basically meet a lot of new people, and it gives you the opportunity to meet athletes and Special Olympics ambassadors just like us.
Absolutely. I think the video. I think we might be having an issue, so we should come to a close soon. Book your travel today. And if you want to hear more conversations about the meaning of inclusive employment, you can listen to our Unified at Work series, specialchronicles.com /unified-at-work. Or just go to specialchronicles.com and click on Unified at Work. And if you want to meet more SOSAs, more Special Olympics ambassadors who work at United Airlines, like LuLu and myself, specialchronicles.com /meet SOSAs. That's specialchronicles.com /meet SOSAs. And we've got a nice playlist of over 6-7 plus more than 6 hours of content for you to listen to. Any final thoughts, LuLu, on your overall time today on the Special Chronicles show that you want to share with our listeners?
Just keep everybody, whoever has a disability, just keep your head held up high. Show the world what you can do. We may be different, but each of us are able to accomplish our goals if we set our minds to it. Awesome.
And one final question we'll always include these conversations with, and we'll do the same with you. To introduce our final question, we've got a bumpo, so let's go ahead and roll that bumpo.
Oh, bumper.
Ooh.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful
person. Okay.
Let's go ahead and roll that bumpo now.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference. Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity, and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
So, as I'm sure you know, in Special Olympics, the inclusion revolution, inclusion is a big part of this movement. It's a big part of Special Chronicles, here at Special Chronicles. Inclusion is also big at United, especially with including us as ambassadors. And something I don't tell the guests ahead of time what this final question is, unless I share the show notes with the guests, which you didn't see the show notes ahead of time, but I did share the final question with you before we started recording, before we went on air. So I'll do the same with you, Lulu, and ask you final question. And you guys are going to love this whole answer to it. But what does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion means to me showing people what I can do, showing them what I have accomplished in my life, and how many goals you can achieve if you set your mind to it, no matter how big they are, no matter how small they are. Reach for the stars.
Awesome. That's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. It's been a joy to have you on, Lulu, and hopefully I can make a trip back down to Houston, because it would be awesome to do a live podcast in person. Maybe we'll have to talk to somebody at United and see if we can just make a little podcast tour from Houston to Denver and all over the place. I'm not going to name the other hubs, the other cities where United will be hiring, because we're not allowed to talk about that yet. So we'll just hopefully you guys to stay subscribed to this podcast. SpecialChronicles.com to find links to subscribe. And if you subscribe to this podcast, the Special Chronicles show or the Unified at Work series, we will let you know when United is hiring more Special Olympics athletes, SOSA ambassadors, and will. I may know will, but I'm not going to let you all know until it is public. So just subscribe, follow us, join in the conversation. If you guys are following us on our Instagram or Facebook pages or Twitter, leave a comment on our Instagram page and let Lulu know how much you loved hearing her story on this episode. Thank you, Lulu, for coming on this episode. And hopefully we'll have you back on someday. And you guys stay tuned, stay subscribed, because new episodes drop every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And we'll have all month long. We have all of September. We'll be featuring Lulu's teammates, SOSA teammates on the SOSA Ambassador Houston team will be coming on this podcast. So we'll be back next week with some more conversations, and stay subscribed. And until then, truth to include, have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Shows podcast. Visit SpecialChronicles.com to follow Special Chronicles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of new episodes. Also, subscribe to our newsletter mailing list to sign up for our updates and get exclusive content delivered to your inbox. Remember to do what you do with these podcasts: subscribe or follow and rate and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, please share this episode and all of our podcasts with your friends and family. Help us grow our audience and reach 5,000 downloads of our audio podcasts and over 14,000 average monthly listeners. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week with exciting new guests. See you next week.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.